All right, everybody, welcome back to the cutting mat. And today, well, you've already read the title, you know what we're talking about, but I'm still gonna give you the story. So what? So earlier today, I found myself with some friends at Entertainment and worked my way into the model shop they have there. And, well, yeah, some decisions were made, as you can see. Yes, today, ladies and gentlemen, we not only have a fresh Bachmann Toby to talk about, but I also went ahead and got this little PCC here. I honestly probably should have got Henrietta, but, you know, I am working with the Dean Goods, so at least this kind of, you know, makes sense. Yes, to go alongside Toby, and because I really don't have much rolling stock anymore, I also got the GWR cattle wagon, as you can see here. And really also because it was wood, and they just felt kind of like they would maybe not belong together, but, you know, it feels right, if that makes any sense. To me, that makes sense. So let's not waste any time. Let's just jump straight into this. And this time, let's not spend too long just talking about this box. It's the exact same thing you've probably seen from every other Bachmann thing ever. It's got the Thomas there at the top. It says Toby, the Thomas and Friends logo there, Bachmann logo. The back is the moving ice diagram and pictures of the other engines they have there. Well, at least the main ones here at the top. At the bottom here, it has more of a list that tells you... Wait, this says Iron Airy and Iron Burt. I don't know if you can... Iron Burt and Iron Air... Either this is an old Toby or Bachmann's tripping. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's the exact same thing here on the cattle wagon, except it doesn't say cattle wagon or anything like that. It just says rolling stock, and that is on everything, whether it's towed, spiteful brake van. I'm pretty sure it's the same on coaches as well. Same logos. The back doesn't have the pictures of really anything. It's just a very large list of the other things you can get that are also pieces of rolling stock, and that kind of makes sense, especially when you see how much there is. And of course, the 8 years old logo there on both that, well, signifies the cashier to look at you strangely when you buy them. All right, jokes aside, I think that's enough of that. Let's just go ahead and jump straight into these things. Yeah, we might as well just start with Toby. I don't think there's going to be crazy much to say about that cattle wagon. Might be a good way just to end things off. Let's just go ahead and... This gives me so much anxiety. I hate doing this so much, not only because I'm scared of hitting the engine, but also my finger, or hand, or arm, or some other appendage on my body. Bachmann, it's a great anti-theft thing, but come on, just think about us, please, just fix this shit. Like, the Hornby boxes are pretty neat, you know, and they're a lot easier to open. I'm just throwing that out there, just gonna say. This honestly might be one of Bachmann's best. I'm not sure, it'll probably be in the title if I do come to that conclusion, but... I mean, from what I remember, Bachmann Toby is just a classic. You know, I've had, I think, 3 in my life, and quick story time, the first time I did have one of these, I took it to school. I think I was in 3rd grade, and it got picked up by another kid and thrown across the playground, which was very detrimental to 3rd grade me. There we go. I think I had another one in 2010 that the motor gave out on, but nothing to worry about this time. Again, we've got a fresh Toby, and that should be enough to get this thing open. Let's just go ahead and try. Oh, there we go. Wow, that broke a lot more than I thought it would. Is there anything behind here? What's going on? Nope. Not that I can see. Let's get Toby out first, then we'll inspect that. Come here. Come on. Let's go. All right, we've got the Bachmann Toby. And is there anything in here? I think there... Yeah. Here, ladies and gentlemen, which I'm sure some of you guys might not even know about because not many people think to check this. I honestly don't. Most times I open these. All right, here, ladies and gentlemen, is where you find the warranty and part diagram. If you ever want to take Toby apart or need to fix something on him, this does come in handy. And that is, again, inside of the box, kind of like so, behind the 2 pieces of paper there, or packaging. That's pretty much all there is to that, though. Let's go ahead and talk about Toby. As you can see here, he does kind of come in this plastic sleeve once you open him from the box, but nothing too hard to get him out of, as you can see. All right. Man, they have at Entertainment basically every Bachmann Thomas train, and I still chose Toby. Like, I could have got Ryan. I could have got Rosie. I could have got Oliver, Duck. It came down to Toby. Look at that fade. This dude is just freaking awesome. I love this model, not only for nostalgic reasons, but just look at this thing. All right, overall, I do think I have more positive feelings about this engine, but let's start with the things I kind of dislike first. I guess the lamps, they're both yellow, as you can see here, and it would be very, very easy just to make that one silver and this one red, and that'd be that much more accurate, but just like I said, that's very, very easy to do. It's not too rough on me, or anyone who chooses to do that, so it's not the hardest modification, there is a lot of molding, as I'm sure you can tell, not only here in the doorways and windows across the entire engine, but basically all the detail here on the top. Not only the bell, but this part here. And truth be told, you know, that is something I used to get mad at, but it kind of makes sense. You saw the packaging earlier. This is for potential 8-year-olds or just younger people in general. You know, if there were too many pieces, it could be a choking hazard. It could just, you know, break too easy and not be something parents feel like getting for those kids. You know, Bachmann definitely rides a fine line between detail and, you know, still being something that parents feel safe giving their children. And Toby pretty much reflects that. It's a lot of molding, but it doesn't look bad. I mean, that could be a lot better, but it is what it is. Let's see. This isn't just on Toby. This is on quite a few Bachmann models, but I kind of just am starting to dislike this very large, cartoony front hook there, and that is on the front and back. And again, not just a symptom of Toby, that is on a lot of Bachmann models like Gordon, Henry. Yeah, again, a lot. And I feel like I'd get murdered by the fandom if I didn't mention the tram plates themselves. As you can see here, they have these large holes to accommodate the hook and loop couplers, but that is something you can, again, pretty easily fix. There are files on not only, I think, maybe Thingiverse, I could be wrong there, but they definitely are on a Shapeways. Pieces you can get to fix that very quickly, and, you know, again, really not that hard of a modification. Now, I guess you could say the pieces themselves aren't, you know, the best, because they are molded in basically one piece, as you can see there, but it'd probably break really easy if a little kid had this in their hand. If it wasn't that way, whatever, you know, it could be a lot worse. Now, let's talk about what I love about this model, and that is quite a few things. Not only is this thing quite heavy, making it probably one of the stronger of Bachmann's engines, or I'm saying that now. We'll test it out, you know, here in a little bit. But right off the bat, just look at that face. You know, out of all the faces Bachmann's done on every engine, I'd be willing to bet Toby's is probably the best. I'm talking James, Percy, Thomas, even Duck, Ryan, Oliver. Now, I guess maybe like Diesel and Daisy or characters like that beat it out because they're pretty identical to the CGI variants like they're supposed to be. But just for, you know, being what it is, I feel like Toby's is probably one of the best. Now, that being said, I do plan to exchange these for some 3D printed faces, which will come soon. But that aside, I mean, again, for having these molded doorways and windows, the paint job is just perfect. I do love the matte black they chose to kind of hide that out, and the gold handrails on all the sides there, which do look pretty damn good and have been painted very well. The overall paint job on Toby, you know, may be simplistic with just this light brown and dark brown here, but it looks phenomenal. Like, they chose the perfect colors. The 7's been applied very, very well on both sides. Again, there's really not a lot to hate. I did say the stuff at the beginning about the tram plates, but really the hole isn't something that bothers me. You know, I like hook and loops. They're really, you know, simple, especially for running. So that's not something I hate too much. It's, you know, something I often change out for 3 links just because they do look better, admittedly. But again, you know, if you're just getting this because you want a Toby to run, that's really not that big of a deal. And following those to the side tram plates look amazing. Everything about this is really, really well put together. But if you do look here at the bottom, we are missing some detail here on the chassis. There is no, well, side plates or a side motion, unlike the in-scale Toby, and the wheels are not painted red. So that is something you'd either have to add yourself if you really, really want to be accurate, or, you know, it's another little bit of customization if you want the perfect Toby. But yeah, I don't really fault Bachmann for not doing those things, since that's really not something you're going to see. Now, truth be told, I just don't feel like taking this thing apart right now, but I guess you could critique the chassis for this thing. It is very bulky, and I'll throw a picture on screen. Does not look good. Like, Bachmann really needs to step up this chassis game, because there's so much going on here that doesn't need to be. And again, that really is the fault of this eye mechanism here, which I know some people adore. I'm kind of 50-50 on it. That's, I guess, a critique. Really, overall, I feel like this is a model that's really, really damn good. And you're getting a lot of bang for your buck. I think this is one of the cheaper ones you can get, coming in at sometimes $60 US, or maybe at the most 75, 80. A overall pretty solid and very accurate engine. I mean, that face is just right off the bat one of the better ones I think you can get from any Bachmann product. Again, paint job looks amazing. You are kind of lacking in some details, like here on the roof and tram plates, but if this is something that's running on a layout, that's not something you're really gonna notice super, super closely. It's just a pingin' little model. So yeah, I really can't wait to get this thing in some matte clear, probably turn it into a little project. Yeah, we'll see. I might even make a video of us weathering this thing to make that wood look a little bit better. bringing out some of these details. Yeah, more to possibly come soon. If I had to give this thing a rating out of 10, I feel like a 7.5 or 8 is probably the most fair, somewhere between those two. It's, you know, there are some things that are lacking. Again, the details, and I'm not going to go through all that stuff a third time. But overall, you're getting a solid engine. It's just what I feel could definitely be considered one of Bachmann's best. It's up there. It might not be the best, but you know what? It's still Toby, a bangin' Toby, and that's really all I was asking for when I bought this thing. All right, Toby aside for now, that's not all we have to talk about, as you saw earlier. We've also got the GWR cattle wagon, which I feel like we won't have as much to say about overall, but let's go ahead and open it anyway, just to see if that's true or not. Maybe I'm capping, maybe I'm not. You don't know. I don't know either. Let's figure out, you know? Now, again, I am kind of regretting not getting Henrietta yet, but I kind of just wanted something that every engine could potentially pull, and that could be another project in itself. That's not me saying Henrietta wouldn't be a project, like she'd get lighting and stuff like Annie and Clarabelle did, but, you know, you can't really beat just a normal little cattle wagon. That's just fun. Especially if you detail or weather that up, that's going to be a fun project. Enough of that. Let's go ahead and get this dude out of here. Oh, yes, thank you, Bachmann. It's always so fun opening any of your products. It's just the best. All right, there we go. All right, so just like Toby, this one comes in this little plastic sleeve, and boom, right off the bat. All right, wow, this is a lot cuter than I thought it'd be. It's this is a neat little wagon, I can't lie. Now, one of the things I'm the most excited for is the inclusion of a hook. That is something that was lacking on Annie and Clarabelle, so thank God. Overall, I have to say I do like this livery. It's very unique. We've got this very light brown. Here's it in a comparison to Toby. Very, very light brown, and a almost mint green door there in the middle, and that is on both sides. We've got a little GWR circular logo there on the left, so this is, you know, from the Great Western, or probably found on the Little Western on Sodor, and a very glossy black roof and chassis, which is something, you know, I don't really like glossy finishes. You know, it doesn't feel the most accurate to really what it should be in real life and what the models looked like when I watched them. So that is something I plan to fix, probably with a maybe a semi-gloss coat, you know, just to bring some of this down. And then I'll go over the roof and a chassis in a matte black paint. But again, that's all for later stuff. Yeah, I'm thinking this definitely will be a weathering project, but enough of all that. Again, it's just a pretty simple little cattle wagon. It's very light, I will say. You probably can't tell that through this, but not a lot of weight here. So I imagine you could probably get several, and you could pull quite a few. We've got some pretty basic detailing, but there's a lot there. As you can see here from the railings here on the top, and that is on both sides. We've got a lot of plank detailing on the wagon itself, which does look really, really good. This is something I'm starting to find on most Bachmann wagons. There is a little bit of an ugly seam, if you can see that there, on the bottom buffer area. And that is, again, basically on every freaking truck Bachmann makes. That is kind of starting to get annoying. But you can't really just fault this wagon. I guess that's, again, just a Bachmann thing. The chassis itself looks pretty damn good. We got a lot of rigging. Yeah, it's a pretty simple little piece, but I feel like this would look really good in any consist, and hopefully will look really good in the consists I run from now on, you know, behind the new Dean Goods, or just behind Toby. They kind of match in material and overall shape, just saying. Now, I think this one sold for $26.99, and online you can probably get them for around that, maybe $24.99-ish. I want to say I feel like that's worth it, but I do feel like there's a bit more Bachmann could do for that price. Like, I don't know, put a little bit more weight in there so this thing doesn't get blown over by a simple gust of wind. That's, you know, one recommendation. I feel like a little bit more paint could have done this thing good, and that is something I plan to do, you know, like come in with some silver on the handrails. I kind of want to paint some of the planks individually, you know, in different colors on here. Make it look like it's just a old cattle wagon that's been repaired over time. But altogether, considering price, detail, what you're getting, if I had to rate this thing, I'd feel pretty comfortable giving this thing like a 7. In terms of rolling stock, you could go to Oxford to pull so many different places and get a lot better for just a little bit more money. But again, it's a Bachmann Thomas product. It's not that expensive. You're not, or you shouldn't really expect crazy amounts of detail, because that's not what you're paying for. You're paying for a Thomas product, a fun little thing. Or, you know, you should expect some detail, especially at some of the prices that, you know, you are paying for some of those things. But for a very simple cattle wagon, I can't really complain that much. All right, and with all that being said, I think it's time we take these two over to the layout. Speaking of layout, I also found some of this. So, you know, layout update possibly coming soon. Possibly coming soon. It's, you know, I wouldn't say it's impossible. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out there.
Either subscribe, donate, or get the fuck out.